Robots are making your food. ChatGPT writes essays in seconds. Technology is moving faster than ever. Everyone's obsessed with artificial intelligence. Stock prices are shooting through the roof. Billions of dollars are being poured in. But experts keep whispering one scary word: bubble. Is AI the next big thing, or the next big disaster? To figure that out, we need to look back at history's most catastrophic bubbles. Because what we're watching right now has already happened before. Twice. The first bubble, when a flower cost more than a house. Let's travel back to the 1600s, the Netherlands. The Dutch Golden Age. The country was rich, powerful, and about to make the dumbest financial mistake in all of history. The Tulip Mania. It started pretty normally in the 1610s. Plant lovers got obsessed with tulips. These exotic flowers that were new to the Netherlands. People started trading them. Not in official places, in bars and taverns. And here's where it gets wild. These weren't even real transactions. No actual money changed hands. Just promises and verbal agreements with a tiny down payment. People started accepting anything as payment: cows, furniture, literally anything they could turn into cash later. Rumors spread like wildfire. You can get rich quick with tulips. Regular people, craftsmen and farmers who knew nothing about finance, rushed into the market. Poor people scraped together every penny they had to buy just a few bulbs. Prices went insane. By the mid-1630s, a single tulip bulb was selling for 5,000 Dutch florins. That was the price of a mansion at that time. There's this famous story from back then. An English plant guy visited a friend in the Netherlands. He had no clue about tulips. While his friend was out, he found a bulb sitting there, thought it was some weird onion, and ate it. When his friend came back and found out, he grabbed the English guy by the shirt and dragged him straight to the authorities. The bulb he ate, Admiral van der Eyck, worth 2,000 gold pieces. The English guy got thrown in debtor's prison until he could pay it back. That's how completely insane the tulip market had gotten. But bubbles always pop. Eventually, prices started dropping. Panic spread. Everyone tried selling at the same time. Nobody wanted to buy. The market crashed. Merchants went bankrupt overnight. Rich nobles who'd bet their fortunes had to give up their lands just to pay what they owed. The crisis was so bad. It's one of the reasons the Netherlands lost its spot as Europe's economic superpower, handing control over to Britain, the first bubble in history. And it was over flowers. The dot-com crash, when the internet dream died, jumped forward 400 years. The late 1990s, the beginning of the internet age. Everyone believed we were entering a new economy where the old rules didn't matter anymore. A Nobel Prize-winning economist, Robert Merton, said the US economy was the greatest in the world and basically couldn't fail. Happy economists celebrated the longest economic boom in history. The internet was going to change everything. Hundreds of millions of dollars flooded into internet companies. Startups that weren't making any profit were raising millions through stock offerings. Website traffic and ad money were all that mattered. Actually making profit. That'll happen later. Maybe, eventually. The Nasdaq stock index went crazy. Tech stocks felt unstoppable, till investors started asking one simple question. Wait, can these companies actually make us money back? That one doubt, that single crack in the story, shattered the entire market. The bubble exploded in 2000. The first recession of the 2000s hit. The new economy theory collapsed. The internet and tech industries, the ones everyone thought were the future, crashed. Between July and September 2002, the New York Stock Exchange plummeted. Total panic. Major tech stocks got destroyed. Apple, down 95%. Amazon, down 95%. Cisco, down 90%. Qualcomm, down 90%. Intel, down 75%. Hundreds of companies went bankrupt. Scandals everywhere. Accounting fraud, stock manipulation. The US economy, once considered unbreakable, lost its title as the world's economic role model. The dot-com bubble didn't just crash. It obliterated an entire generation of startups. But here's the important part. The internet didn't die. After the crash, people cleaned up the mess. They built real infrastructure. Networks spread around the globe. And from the ruins, second-generation giants emerged. Google, Facebook, Amazon, again. The bubble had to burst for the real internet era to actually begin. The AI boom, are we doing it again? Now let's talk about today. Artificial intelligence. The hottest thing on the planet right now. Robots are everywhere. AI answers our questions. Technology is moving at lightning speed. And billions, trillions are being thrown at it. So is AI a bubble? Let's look at what's happening. Tech stocks now make up 34% of the 500 biggest companies in America. That's almost the same as the 35% during the dot-com bubble. The 7 biggest tech companies control more of the market than they have since 2000. But get this. NVIDIA alone is worth 7% of all the top 500 companies combined. Think about that for a second. One company. 7% of everything. When too much power is in one place, that's seriously dangerous. If these companies mess up, if they disappoint people, the entire market could come crashing down. On the surface, this looks exactly like the dot-com bubble. But here's where it gets interesting. During the dot-com era, random startups appeared everywhere. Companies with no money coming in, no profits, no actual plan, just hype, were raising millions. Today, it's different. AI companies are actually making money. They're doing better than people expected. The growth is actually real. Unlike the dot-com bubble, AI is controlled by giant corporations with tons of money. You can't just start an AI company in your garage. You need crazy expensive computer chips, huge data warehouses, power plants, cooling systems. Billions worth of actual physical stuff. Random new companies can't just show up and compete. It's way too expensive. And unlike the dot-com days, where people were betting on vague ideas like website visitors and maybe add money someday, AI companies are building real things you can see and touch. So maybe AI isn't a bubble. Wait, not so fast. The hidden problem. What everyone's missing. Here's the real issue. Everyone's staring at the trees right in front of them. But they're missing the entire forest. Looking at whether AI is a bubble based only on whether companies are making money right now is missing the big picture. Because there's one huge problem built into AI that almost nobody is talking about. It kills jobs. As AI gets better and spreads everywhere, people lose their jobs. That's just what happens. This is AI's destiny. Right now, investors are frantically throwing money at AI stocks, only thinking these companies are gonna make so much money as AI grows. But remember how during the dot-com bubble, people suddenly got scared and asked, wait, are these companies actually going to make money? And the whole thing crashed. The same thing will happen with AI, except this time the fear will be, wait, what happens when millions of people lose their jobs to AI? Think about it. When robots and AI replace human workers everywhere, when millions of jobs vanish, what happens then? People can't spend money if they don't have jobs. The economy needs people buying stuff. Society becomes unstable. That's when everyone's attitude changes. Right now, AI is the future. It's exciting, it's progress. But when unemployment explodes, when entire industries just disappear, the excitement becomes fear. And fear makes markets crash hard. This is how every bubble works. The dot-com bubble popped and wiped out all those early internet companies. But after the crash, people built real internet infrastructure around the world, and better companies like Google emerged from the ashes. AI will follow the same path. The bubble pops. Early companies get destroyed. And from the ruins, the actual AI era begins. The everything bubble. Here's what makes this even more dangerous. The economy is like one giant spiderweb. When one part breaks, everything shakes. While everyone's debating AI, bubbles are forming everywhere. Crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of it growing like crazy with people borrowing tons of money to buy more. New nuclear reactor technology. People betting billions on next-gen power plants that don't even exist yet. Rare materials for electronics. A total frenzy over the metals and minerals needed to build tech. All of these are blowing up with people borrowing money to invest, which is the perfect recipe for disaster. And they're all tied together like dominoes. When one falls, it knocks over the others. Crypto crashes. Tech stocks tumble. People who borrowed money have to sell everything. It spreads like wildfire. Problems in any of these areas could instantly destroy the hype keeping AI stocks high, just like tulips in the 1600s, just like internet stocks in 2000. It's not if this happens, it's when. So is AI a bubble? Yes, but not the way most people think. The technology works. Companies are making real money. The infrastructure exists. But people's expectations are way too high. Too much power in too few hands, and everyone's ignoring what happens to society when AI takes everyone's jobs. When the market finally realizes that AI doesn't just make people rich, it also destroys jobs, tears apart communities, and threatens the whole system of people buying stuff that keeps the economy running, that's when everything crashes. The people with all the money already know this. They've watched this movie before. They know how bubbles work. They know how people panic. They know exactly when to sell and get out before everything collapses. The question is, do you? For hundreds of years, it's been the same pattern over and over. Wild betting. Everyone gets excited. Everything crashes. And every single time, regular people lose everything while a tiny group makes a fortune from the disaster. Tulips in the 1600s. Stock market in 1929. Internet in 2000. Housing in 2008. And now, AI, crypto, and debt bubbles bigger than all of those combined. You can't stop the crash, but you can see it coming. Subscribe to Tiny Treasury, where we show you who's really controlling the money and what they're planning next. Every episode reveals another piece of the puzzle. Miss one episode and you won't see the full picture. Hit that notification bell. Share this with your friends and family, because when everything crashes, only the people who saw it coming will be ready. Understanding how this works isn't just useful, it's the only way to protect yourself.